So, Sumeru is coming soon, and for those who haven't been following leaks, it would have been like... While for those who have been following leaks... However, as exciting as it is that finally a new region is coming, Genshin Impact is still Genshin Impact, which means the amazing things about the game is still there. And the downside of the game is still there.
Shut the f up!
I've been causing people to actually quit and make some suggestion on how it can be made better, so not only our current players who's loving the game can have an even more wonderful time, but Genshin can pull back players who have quit while pulling in more new players at the same time. So with that guys, let's just sit back and enjoy the video. Okay, first I just want to rediscuss with you the main problem we're actually currently having in Genshin Impact right now, so we kind of know where we are currently. First, the most obvious one is the open world. We all know that by now there's no chest respawn in the open world, making the world map almost non-replayable after you've pretty much already cleared the chest. Now we do have monsters to farm from their materials here and there, but that isn't much. They could argue that there are some event quests which requires you to go into the world to collect items and do certain things, but then again most of the event quests are speed runs and doesn't really offer much value. So it's pretty much that the open world replayability issue still stands.
Everything you're saying is just so true. This couldn't be more true, really. I can personally say that I almost gave up on Genshin. Really, I almost gave up on Genshin because of this. There's like a giant map, a beautiful, wonderful map, and there's nothing to do there. An unbelievable waste of graphics and style. They just come and say, "Oh, come play Genshin. We have an amazing open world game for you to enjoy." And all you have to do is, you know, walk around and kill some little monsters. Yoo-hoo! How fun is that? It pisses me off. I just can't take it anymore, really. It's just absurd, really. Let's just keep going with the video.
Next is that the gameplay is really too easy. Seriously though, apart from the Abyss final floors that does offer a bit of a challenge, most of the players however spend their time in the open world. And even though the enemies in the open world is kind of hard to kill in the earlier games, once it gets to the end game they just get one shot most of the time. So there's basically no challenging rewarding content from fighting enemies in the end. Even for weekly bosses, though our newest world boss, the Raiden Shogun fight, was thought to be tough at first, she is still pretty much easy. And so even if players who quit the game for almost a year, once they return they can actually just catch up to the content very easily. Next is co-op. It's still something that frustrates most players until this point in time, because it offers almost zero gameplay value. The most rewarding value you would have is to go to other players' world and farm materials, or help each other in doing domains. Of course we can just hop over and find fun things to do ourselves, but Hoyoverse themselves don't come up or even update any co-op content to make it even better. From my experience, the lack of co-op content is something that have caused players to quit the most, because what do you do after using up all of your resins? It's something that we've been talking since the start of the game, yet nothing is done. If they were to put at least some thought into co-op sections, Hoyoverse is going to keep people playing a lot more, and more players mean more money made for them too. And then next we have events. Even if you don't admit it, I am sure that you can see that most of the event formats are the same apart from the larger major events like the Lantern Rite or the Inazuma Festival event. Most smaller events boils down to you talking to the NPC, speedrun the event to collect what is needed ASAP, and then go back back to collect a few rewards. So they're changing up the names for the events, but generally it's the same thing nonetheless. Only a few ones were really good and different, which was the mechanical events, our labyrinth, maze events, and the boss difficulty challenging event. Those are some that I thought to be different and fun, but then they don't get to stay for long and just vanish in the end, making Genshin in the major lack of endgame content. And talking about endgame content, there you go. Again, only the Abyss is said to be the endgame content till this point. While you wait for new character to come for every patch and try to wish your luck getting those character. There are events to make up for the gap of the waiting time, but we just discussed about the event right above. If they could just add just one additional long-lasting endgame content, I am sure it will make most of the player be happy and play the game a lot longer. And for that, we'll hop into the part where I discuss about my top 5 suggestions that can make Genshin better and keep everyone playing a lot more. Now, in the process of making this video, I actually made a community post asking what better content we can get for Genshin to keep players going. And the one that came up the most would be regarding content like boss raid, or you could say that content where you go into domains, search your way through each floor, clear that, and as you move forward, it gets harder and harder. It's a very simple idea and very effective. Just like in the past where we had the Labyrinth Warrior event, in which it was feedback by most players to be the best event we have had to date. And because it is really fun and worthwhile to play. Yet the event didn't become something permanent, which again kinda sucks. So if we can have some kind of permanent content implemented into the game once Sumeru arrives, it would be really good. Since Sumeru is a deserted rainforest area, they can create kind of like an ancient forest labyrinth looking style to fit the region. For better open world gameplay experience, even if the replayability in the open world can be solved right now, a very easy solution for better experience would be to unlock AR 60 cap and let the player ascend the world level even more for harder enemies, like make the world enemies level to 150 or something, because the current ones are just too easy to beat. Having a more challenging experience while you're exploring can be very fun, instead of having players just rush through the map to get every possible chest as soon as possible. Open world is one of the better places for you to test your team and characters as well, as they won't be affected by stat changes like in the Abyss. So having tougher enemies around would help us in that part too. During Sumeru, we can expect some newer enemies to arrive for sure. That would be fun in its own parts, but if they still get one shot most of the time, then it doesn't become too exciting, right? For better co-op experiences, the most simple things that can be changed first is that at least make all the NPCs still interactable during co-op, like Catherine, the crafting table, and everything else, plus during the quest too, so that people don't always have to go offline just to do some side quests. Those are some of the most simple yet effective change that I see many players wanting. On top of that, one fun thing I would love to have is PvP option during co-op. I myself feel that it would be really fun to have our character go against other players in PvP, just like how Elden Ring PvP would be very fun. I think this is very doable from the fact that we've been battling with Child, who is a playable character, so having that PvP option can be quite fun. And I'm sure that many will stick around in co-op a lot more if some kind of PvP gameplay is held in place, because PvP options are usually what makes people stick to the game for a long time, not just Genshin Impact. For events, as it's been mentioned above, most events we're getting are just rush through of talking to NPCs, complete their tasks as soon as possible by pressing a few buttons and get your 60 Primogems through each task complete. Like truly, if we were getting 4 events in a patch, at least 3 of them are the star most of the time. Now events fun can be really simple. We've experienced in the past, like in the events where there were boss difficulty changes, those were really fun, plus there were co-op co-op option for those boss, which makes it even better. But we haven't seen those kind of events in quite a while. Usually event fun comes down to elements that have combat in it, so any event that have battling and beating bosses would be fun. Though I do say that Hoyoverse is doing their thing of trying out creative events, but those usually end in players rushing through them. So focusing on combat events or puzzle events like the Theater Mechanicus before was really good. Now we've discussed 4 suggestions already, but the last one here is something I consider to be the best, the most effective change, yet not too hard to implement. And even if none of the other suggestion is implemented in the game, having this one here would already be more than enough, and that is custom abyss. Yes, custom abyss, the option for each of us to make our own abyss and share that online to have other people try to beat it, is going to be real fun. While of course there's going to be restriction rules that comes to it, it's not like you can put like 100 Raiden Shogun into the floors and have other go through it. The abyss is already something that's permanent in the game, and if there were option for it to be custom, it would be very well recognized by many of us and have everyone stick to the game a lot more, as this shareability is basically endless content for people to go through. Genshin Impact core are the open world exploration and the character combat, and if custom abyss is in place, it would already solve half of the boringness people are having while waiting for a new region to come. So it's something that can be considered for sure. Now we do know that Hoyoverse send out feedback from in every patch, and it's a very good way for us to make our suggestions, though how much of it is actually taken into consideration and implemented by Hoyo, that's still pretty much a mystery. But it's worth taking our shot as we do have the chance. So those are my suggestions in making a better experience once Sumeru actually arrived, as the new region is going to be insane for sure, since it's only a yearly kind of thing that we're getting. Genshin have a lot of potential that is untapped, and I really feel that if even one of what we've discussed here in this video is implemented, it would make the player gameplay experience a lot better. And so those are my saying, guys. Let me know down in the comment section what you think and whether you have any other ideas to better Genshin Impact. If you're new to the channel, guys, be sure to subscribe, as I make guides video especially for free-to-play player, helping you make the best decision when playing Genshin Impact. With that, I wish you a super day, and I will catch you on the next video.